Hello, and welcome to this recorded technically on a Thursday episode of Masks Freaky Friday, part 1 of 2. I'm Leah, the GM, and I'm running this game of body swapping teen supers who hopefully will solve more problems than they cause. I'd love to have each of our players introduce themselves, tell us if there's anywhere you want people to be able to find you on the internet, and then tell us a little about the hero you're playing. Let's go in character keeper order, so that would put Sage up first.
Hi, my name is Sarah Bell. You can find me all over the internet at Nylota, Nylota, and I will be playing Sage the Transform today. A normal high school teen until 6 months ago, and now is getting increasingly planty.
Alexi, you're up next.
Hey, Alexi Sargent, he, him, I. You can follow all my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. That's at Cloven Pine Games on Twitter and Cloven Pine Games on itch.io. In this game of Masks, I'm going to be playing the delinquent playbook, Tim Culpepper, the kid with the golden brain. He's a youngster of a libertarian persuasion with gadgetry and hacking and psychic weapons that he creates out of his mind. And he's the editor-in-chief of the Hedgehog's Purview, the alternative liberty-minded journal at his high school.
And Robert.
Yep, so I'm Robert, he, him pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at the Robert Angus. In this game, I'm playing Meadowlark, the outsider. Meadowlark is an alien hailing from the inside of one of Jupiter's moons and a former intergalactic reality show star, I guess. Just looking to find, are they human? Are they alien? Neither, both, who knows?
Sounds good. And tonight will be one story in the history of this superhero team-up, but it isn't the first story. So to find out kind of how these three folks decided to fight crime together as a team, we're going to take a look at those questions for when our team first came together. And everyone can kind of add or propose details to someone's question, but each of you gets to determine a key fact about what brought you together as a team. And the first question goes to our outsider. We didn't trust each other at first, but that changed. How? Why?
Yeah, and I've been trying to think up that one. I think we didn't trust each other at first just because of how different we all are. It's one of those things that even like Meadowlark being so different would think like, oh, well, I would never distrust people because they were different or anything, but then you get around these people who are so completely different, and it's like, well, yeah, okay, maybe when I get to know them. So I think probably partly because of that and just our completely different power sets. So I think it's just kind of on the obvious thing of different power sets and just very different types of people from different walks of life or different planets even.
Yeah, one question I have for Meadowlark there is, because you were raised mostly around humans, who do you think is most different from you? Is it Tim, who is basically a human with psychic weapons, or Sage, who's like much less human looking than most humans?
I think I probably see Sage as the more human-like, because I think Sage is more like the people that I grew up with, and Tim has these just weird, like I don't know what these ideas that he has are. That's not what I always heard about, when I was raised.
So you have an easier time, anticipating what Sage is like than you do have with Tim.
Yeah, like Tim's ideas on society and everything are more alien to me.
And just to check, Sage, do you think that's something you're aware of, that to Meadowlark, you're the more normal person than Tim?
I don't think she's aware of it, but when she becomes aware of it, it's going to be great. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Excellent. All right, our next question is for our delinquent. We totally broke some major rules to win the fight. What rules did we break? Whose rules were they?
Yeah, so I'm thinking probably there's occupational licensing for superheroes in Halcyon City. So just by posing as a team in that like cool splash panel where we're all together and like getting ready to take on whatever threat it is we were fighting when we first came together. We've broken a bunch of rules. There's a lot of paperwork we were supposed to have filled out before we got to this stage of superhero-dom. So we received a like strongly worded letter from the like Exemplar's legal department the day after this fight, and then I rebutted it paragraph by paragraph in my my editorial in the Hedgehog Purview on the next day. So I feel we've taken care of that.
All right, so it sounds like Tim has not bothered to register since then. Sage and Meadowlark, did you fill out the paperwork that was delivered to you by an Exemplar lackey or not?
It took forever, but yes.
Yeah, I don't think Meadowlark did. Because it's like, what? I'm not like one of these supers. I'm just a person from a different place.
All right, and who is Alexia? I'll put this to you: the public face of the Exemplars, who speaks a lot about how superheroes have a responsibility to be ultimately accountable to the government.
Oh, that's a good question. It's got to be like martial perfection.
Sounds good. All right. And just while we're talking about the team as a legal entity or otherwise, do you guys have a team name?
Tim, in his editorial, claimed that they were young Halcyonians for freedom. I do not know whether the rest of the team is on board with that name.
Have either of you guys succeeded in naming the team?
Aside from not that, no.
Meadowlark, do you have a sense of what your team's name is?
I don't think so. No, that's a good question.
All right. Well, we'll see what the paper calls you. And finally, for our transformed, we drew attention and ire from plenty during the fight. One important person in particular now hates and fears us. Who is it? You're muted.
Yep. Hi. So I think we kind of just like ran into this and like wrecked a bunch of stuff. And I think one of the like older hat, like Silver Age heroes who like I'm gonna say their name is Echo and they like can reflect people's powers back on them. And they're doing the whole like you need to take responsibility and acknowledge the like the severity and the power, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, what did you specifically do that Echo's really upset about?
Aside from heroing without a license, apparently. I think we wrecked a major like statue that was like a tribute to probably like one of his friends and like put a bunch of civilians in danger in the process.
Yeah. Is it a statue of a superpowered hero of Halcyon or an ordinary person of Halcyon?
I think a superpowered hero of Halcyon.
His
name.
Yeah, please.
Do not have.
All right, well, that's open to anyone if you want to propose whose statue you wrecked.
There is a superhero name generator linked in the Character Keeper under resources.
And while people mull that, I'd love to know, Tim and Sage, what ground rules do you believe you've set around the use of telepathy? And then Meadowlark, what is your understanding of the rules? Which may or may not be the same.
Yeah, I think probably we appreciate that, having that secret telepathic line could be a helpful communication tool, but there's probably a no eavesdropping policy, right? It's got to be like, yeah, you can set it up so we can actively project thoughts towards you and each other for coordination purposes, but it's got to be a tight firewall where none of our thoughts are gonna leak through, and you're never gonna peek in like you're the government tapping our phones in our brains.
Only during work hours, when we are on official business. Please, I like having my thoughts as my own. That's the only normal thing about me at this moment.
And Meadowlark, what do you understand your teammates to have asked you to do, and what is it you do?
No, I think actually I pretty well understand what they mean, because growing up with humans, I didn't grow up with people who could read my thoughts and speak to me telepathically. So I think I kind of get that. When I first started living with my own people, that was really freaky to me too. So I probably keep the telepathy at a bare minimum unless I think it's super necessary.
All right. Now let's take a look at the influence you guys have over each other. So if you take a look down first at relationships and then at influence, you guys get to fill in, each of you guys, one of the other two folks in each slot. So you have 2 relationship questions. Let's go in reverse character keeper order. Meadowlark, will you tell us who you want to slot in for each of these relationships?
Yeah, so you've been learning about Earth by spending time with, and I think that would be Sage. I think like I said, Sage seems like the more normal one. And so I think I've just been spending more time around Sage to kind of understand, I grew up with humans, then went back to be, to my people, and now I'm back. I don't know, there's the difference between growing up and learning about Earth as a child and now being back as a teenager kind of thing. So now I think Sage is helping me to learn how to navigate the troubled waters of being a teenager on Earth.
What's the biggest question you hope Sage helps you with?
I think Meadowlark doesn't really understand why people on Earth are so obsessed with makeup and haircuts and all of this, extraneous stuff.
So what you're saying is you're trying to fit in a makeover montage.
Yes, that would be perfect.
All right, so it sounds like you're spending a lot of time asking someone who's recently lost control of her appearance about the voluntary changes people make to their appearance. That sounds very sensitive and thoughtful. And tell us a little about the other relationship you've got there.
Yeah, so the other one, you have a crush on, and I think I have a crush on Tim, but I keep it under wraps. And we've hit on a couple of times, to me, Tim is the alien one. He's got these weird, crazy ideas and goes off on these whole huge tangents. But for whatever reason, I love to just sit and listen to this stuff, because I'm learning about all this amazing stuff that I never knew anything about, and it's so wildly different that I don't know, it's I just love to sit and listen to him talk about what can the government do to us, what can't they do to us.
Excellent. All right, let's go for Tim and his relationship question.
It's excellent having a receptive audience to my important political insights. You keep trying to impress Blank with your antics. That's got to be Sage, I think. Like, Sage needs to lighten up a little. And kind of understand that with these powers we've got, we are self-determining individuals and can chart a course that's unhampered by the kinds of unconstitutional restrictions that the powers that be in Halcyon City want to put on superheroes.
What have you recently done that you were sure was going to impress Sage?
Probably like I wanted to show off like a big 3D printed vape rig.
And did it function or did it explode, out of curiosity? Or have you not actually tested what you built with it yet?
I think like a component exploded, but that doesn't, invalidate the theory of the thing.
All right. And let's go to your second relationship question, which feels a lot like your first one, honestly, given what you're doing on round one.
My second one is you and Blank pulled an awesome, if illegal, stunt together, which I feel like I want to point at Meadowlark. Because Meadowlark can fly, right? So, like, is there... Meadowlark, is there like a place that I like had you get us into for this awesome, if illegal, stunt? Like, do you have any thoughts on that front? I'd love to pull something together there.
Yeah, because I think, there's the flight and then also density control. So maybe, depending on the material of, a building or a door or something, like maybe wooden doors, I can kind of control my hand to stick through, but not like metal doors. I think there's probably... It's probably somewhere up high, yeah.
Nice. Maybe there's a city government office specifically for dealing with superheroes, and like with your flight and density control, we managed to like get up on the roof of it for me to spray paint an important message to them. Like the headline is "Govern Less," but then there's a whole editorial underneath that in spray paint.
Did you sign it?
It's probably pretty obvious who did it, even if there isn't a signature on it per se.
I see.
It's in like slightly gold flecked spray paint, thus like matching his kind of the general aesthetic of the psychic weapons he generates.
Yeah, and maybe even like left, like kind of got in a little bit to leave like pamphlets and things, like just in random filing cabinets where like people would come across them in their day-to-day job there.
Just the Bill of Rights. It's just like Bill of Rights printed out and then like a bunch of them stuffed into the filing cabinet, so when they open it, it like all like falls on them.
Oh man. All right, Sage, it's up to you. What are your relationships with these two folks?
Why am I the sane one out of this group? I think Meadowlark comforted me when I was at my lowest. I almost said confronted. I think Meadowlark has a type of distance that is needed when it comes to like, why are all these people judging me? Like, they don't understand that like these changes aren't my fault. They're just judging me on how I look, and they're just like, yeah, who cares about it? What you look like? You can do this cool Vine shit. Like, it's about your abilities and not your appearance. And I think it was really nice to hear that from somebody that wasn't just trying to placate you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that leaves your other relationship.
Yeah. we were talking about going to the same school in the chat. I think Tim and I went to the same school in the chat. And if I may impose, I think Tim and Rocky were both on the honor roll, and Raquel really cares about the honor roll, and Tim just was that smart. It was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, it's no big deal. It's just the state trying to make us legible to them.
Yeah.
And what was your relationship like before you guys both had powers? Were you friends? Were you antagonists? And did you initially realize when you teamed up that it was this kid from school?
I don't know if they were particularly antagonistic, mostly because I think Raquel was a bit competitive in terms of grades, and Tim didn't care.
So it was a sort of one-sided competition.
It was a one-sided her competing with herself. Using him as a proxy.
Got it.
And
yeah.
Do you think that they recognized each other when they first teamed up?
I don't think Tim does like that much to hide his identity, to be honest.
And I don't know if people wouldn't have recognized the one person in class that was slowly turning into a plant.
Do any of you guys feel like you have a secret identity of any kind? The open books.
Yeah, I think Tim has scrubbed a lot of data about him from the internet, but he's like Tim Culpepper, the kid with the golden brain. So his name is right there, like in his superhero alias, pretty much.
Tim uses a VPN.
All right, I'm going to go on to influence, but I just have one last question for Tim, the kid with the golden brain. Did you trademark that so no one else could make money off of it, or do you not concede like the legal validity of trademark?
Oh man, getting into real philosophical stuff here. Oh boy, I think there's a Creative Commons license on it. So like people can make Kid with the Golden Brain, products and branded paraphernalia. They just need to link back to oh man, what's his like main handle on the internet? They need to link back to wherever his kind of main internet haunt is. Which is probably slightly dark webby, to be honest. So
Does he have that? What was that website a couple years back where you could just ask questions anonymously and answer them?
Oh man,
Curious Cat.
All right. Let's go to influence. We'll snake back from Sage. So taking a look at your playbook, since you're the transformed, it says, you try not to care what other people think, even if you can't shut everyone out. Give influence to one teammate. Who are you going to pick?
Mm-hmm.
And influence means that this is when you care what they think about you, basically. You'll listen when they tell you who they are, who you are.
I think I'm going to give that to Meadowlark.
Legit. So you may want to just write that down at the bottom. Keep track of this because when you make rolls that target someone you have influence over, you get to take a +1 on the roll. So that means that if Meadowlark were defending you, because Meadowlark has influence over you, Meadowlark would get a +1 to that defend roll. You can also use that to tell someone who they are, and you can also use it vindictively. But I won't go for how to do that right now. We'll handle it if it comes up. All right. And let's look at our delinquent. So you care way more than you will get let on. Give 3 teammates influence over you.
Yeah, everybody gets influence. Like I said, soft, gooey center of the delinquent. They really do care, and they need affirmation. So people get influence over me.
Technically, it says 3, and you only have 2 teammates. So I will personally regard you as having given the government influence over you.
I'm a sovereign citizen, I tell you.
All right, let's go to our outsider here. I believe you get to make a choice about what you want to do for influence. Let's see.
Yeah, it's a demeanor choice.
You're going to choose whether you're haughty or cheerful in your demeanor.
Yeah, and I think I'm going with cheerful. Because, yeah, it says if you're cheerful, you're thrilled to be here, give everyone influence over you. And then, yeah, I think Meadowlark is thrilled to be here.
Excellent. All right. Then go ahead and mark that down. And now that we've kind of built up our team, which may or may not be called Young Halcyonians for Freedom, um, we're going to take a quick bio break and me coming up with what your problem is. Break. So let's come back. I've got 8:58 right now. Let's come back at uh 9:08. We'll take a 10-minute break right now, and we'll probably take one more break at least during the scope of the game, so you can pace yourself. See you guys at 9:08. All right. Welcome back, folks. So it's a beautiful afternoon in Halcyon City. And you guys are on a school trip to City Hall. Let me ask you a couple questions about this school trip. Tim, what is Miss Aguilar, the chaperone for this trip, worried that you're up to? And what are you actually planning to be up to?
Yeah, she's probably worried that I'm going to cause some kind of disruption or disturbance at City Hall. But I think that actually my silent protesting presence will be enough when I take off my jacket to reveal the T-shirt that I'm wearing, which is a Gadsden type snake coiled around like a bazooka, and the caption is like, "Go ahead, tread on me."
I see. Metalark, do you go to school with these guys?
Yeah, I think I still do attend school. Not really because I'm interested so much. I'm interested in learning some of the things, but I'm mostly just interested in learning how to interact with humans better. Oh, you're muted.
What hypothesis about humans are you planning to test during this trip?
I guess I'm trying to test the efficiency of this whole, like the idea of a school trip. Is it successful in teaching people anything, or is it just a waste of time?
Very good. And Sage, what kind of identification were you asked for at the security gate to prove that you were not dangerous to City Hall?
To prove that I am not dangerous. Because they first asked for my school ID because they didn't believe I was a student.
Have you gotten an updated one with your new face, or do you just have them?
Nope, not yet. And they did not believe that for a second. And once I had said that I had like registered as a hero with, what are we calling this organization?
I think we can just go with the usual mass group, and I just mix up which one it is. Aegis, right?
As the like shield type organization.
Okay.
Yeah, so Aegis is kind of cops, but for superheroes, and they're probably who you registered with and got evaluated by.
Yeah. So I have a little Aegis like ID card, and they like scrutinize the shit out of it because they don't believe it's real.
Yeah, no, let's pick up there as you guys are entering City Hall. In fact, I think there's a security guard who's not Aegis affiliated herself. Is taking a close look at your card and saying, I don't know why they just give out these certifications. If folks like you were somewhere safe, the whole city would be a lot safer. Just because this ID lets you walk around the city, I'm not sure there's any reason it should let you walk around City Hall. And this person is pushing your danger up and your mundane down. So let's take a look for anyone who doesn't have the basic moves open. When folks who have influence over you, and this adult does, tell you who you are, they can shift your labels. And then it's really up to you whether you listen to what they say, make it part of you and shift your labels, or reject their influence. So what do you want to do in response to this security guard?
No, everyone else is like already trailing into City Hall, and it's like her and the guard. It's like, no, I just want to get back to my group. I don't want to be here as much as you do. Please. I just want to be with everybody else. So she's resisting.
Excellent. All right. So when you reject someone's influence, you just roll 2d6. So go ahead and pop over to our roll for your party, and I'll drop the link. It's Alexia already did in the side, and let's see how that goes for you.
Let's hope that goes good. Let me load that up. Oh, somebody already has there.
Ooh.
Yep.
So that's unfortunately a 6.
Yeah.
Now I will say that you always start the session with one team in the pool, which I've now added for you guys. So someone else could try and help you out and move that up, or we can just roll with the 6. Meadowlark, Tim, do either of you hear and intervene, or is Sage on her own?
I think it's plausible I intervene, but I might be rolling another move for that. If I step back here and try to mislead, distract, or trick the guard, for example.
Okay, I think that might be a way of resolving or trying to help with whatever's happening as the result of this miss. So, Sage, go ahead and mark potential. And actually, everyone, since this is a short pair of sessions, go ahead and mark 2 potential to start with. You'll take potential on every miss. So, Sage, you're going to go up to 3.
Yeah.
And let's see. I think at this point, yeah, the guard kind of bristles a little and goes, "We're not the same at all. You people with your weirdo powers and no care about other people. I saw you guys. I saw what happened when you took down that statue. You say you're for freedom, but you're only for freedom for people like you, freaks like you, and it's people like me who wind up in the crossfire. I'm calling my supervisor, and you're not going anywhere unless it's to jail, as far as I'm concerned."
Okay. Hey, Tim, can you get Miss Aguilar?
Tim, you've been asked for help. Which kind of help are you planning to provide?
I have plans about providing help. That was a miss on reject someone's influence.
Yes, so you also are going to take a condition, Sage. So when you're going to adjust the labels here. So let's see. Your mundane is going to -2, and your danger is going to 2.
Okay, cool.
And I had to go ahead and mark the condition insecure.
Yep, that sounds about right.
And Tim, how do you plan to help?
Yeah, I think I come like strolling back, having overheard that Sage is having this issue here with the security lady, and I'm going to say, is there some kind of a problem here?
Yeah, the security guard looks kind of relieved to see someone as relatively normal as you, Tim, and goes, "Well, someone let this thing onto your school bus, I guess, but you run along with the rest of your friends. We adults are taking care of it."
Oh, interesting. I would have assumed that employees of City Hall were familiar with Clause B, subsection 6 of the Halcyon City Constitution, guaranteeing the constitutional rights of superpowered Americans and citizens of this great city.
The guard kind of narrows her eyes at you and goes, "Nothing in that piece of paper says I have to let people into City Hall. You guys want to be freaks, you do it in your own time, in your own space. This is city property. Now, scoot along."
Actually, and I think at this point, I just put my hand down on the desk, and then as I lift it up, there is a pile of paperwork that I've created out of psychic energy, which if you took the time to look through it, you would see a big part in the middle is all lorem ipsum. But the first few pages are indeed things that he has memorized from the bylaws of Halcyon City. He says, "Actually, the way city property works is not how you might naively expect it to, and then like launches into the way that kind of individual citizens of Halcyon City have like kind of inalienable rights to be present in City Hall.
Does he have a copy of the city constitution in his back pocket?
He doesn't need it since he can like psychically 3D print it.
Now I have to ask, are you accurately explaining something that's in the Constitution and trying to persuade this person? Or are you somewhat over-interpreting and misleading, distracting, or tricking?
I think his reading is a little tendentious, so I'm going to roll mislead, distract, or trick if that's all right.
Go ahead.
That's Snake Eyes. That's Snake Eyes.
That's potential that you should mark. Yeah, I think at this point,
Think I bothered the whole stream away.
Think I bothered coming up with other problems for you guys in prep. I think at this point, as you kind of reveal that stack, the guard goes like, "Oh, you're one of them too. This is an attack!" And slams her fist down on a big red button. You both are kind of find yourself within an energy field. And the guard like reaches for her walkie-talkie and goes, "All right, activate the new protocols." What? No, I know they're in beta testing, but this is an emergency. And a large panel slides up in the wall, and a shiny robot steps out. This is definitely enough hubbub, Meadowlark, that you can be aware of this. So, Tim and Sage, you are in a force field.
Yeah, I would call that hopelessly embroiled and under pressure. So I'm going to also mark a condition from Are You Watching Closely? Angry.
I'm
Good
idea. Meadowlark, this is definitely enough stomping going on that you and probably a fair amount of the field trip come back to see that there's a shiny metal robot menacing your two friends. A security guard who is like frantically barking things on a walkie-talkie and holding up what appears to be like a very underpowered taser. Ms. Aguilar goes, "What is happening? Tim, you couldn't get past the security? Of course you couldn't get past the security. My goodness. Look, I'm sure we can explain all this." And then the robot goes, "All threats to City Hall must be contained permanently." You can see his arms starting to charge up. Meadowlark, what do you do?
Yeah, I think up until that point, Meadowlark is just kind of idly watching, because the whole concept of law enforcement and Tim's many rants about how law enforcement doesn't really know the laws that they're upholding. Up until then I was learning, but now there's this robot charging something up. So I think I would probably want to intervene, I guess, and not like break the robot, but try to prevent any harm.
Would you say that you're primarily trying to defend your friends from the weapon the robot is charging up, or are you trying to intervene directly at the robot to do damage and stop it from doing
I think it's more defending my friends.
All right. So how are you defending them? What does it look like?
I think it's just as simple as just kind of like getting in the way. Like, I don't really... Like, it doesn't really seem like a threat that I'm actually worried about. Like, I've seen the superpowers that people have, but robots, what's a robot really going to do?
All right. Well, go ahead. Step into the line of that beam and roll to defend. So when you're rolling to defend someone or something, you're going to roll plus savior. And Do you have influence over either of the two people you're defending? Because I'm willing to grant it for you, if so.
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, I have influence over both.
All right, so that's going to add a +1 to your roll. It looks like your savior is 0, so you'll be rolling at +1. Go for it.
That's a 10.
Very nice. All right, when you defend someone on a hit, you keep them safe, and you get to choose one of these 3 options. Add a team to the pool, take influence over someone you protect, or clear a condition. If you take influence over someone you already have influence on, it means you get to shift their labels.
And then what is team used for? Like add a team to the pool?
Team is used to kind of help boost other people's rolls.
Okay, I'll go ahead and add a team to the pool.
That's a good call given our options.
And so what does it look like? He's firing a bolt of electricity. What does it look like as it hits you? Because it seems like you're going to do a pretty good job standing strong in the face of this attack. But what does it look like?
Yeah, I think I kind of just get in the way and, put like a hand out and sort of make my hand like really dense so that it doesn't really, it's not really a very good conduit for electricity at all. And it basically just hits my hand and the electricity was just dispersed. And I think it probably just like crackles into the air. And like some of the students like standing around, like, some of their hair kind of gets charged and, like there's like a lot of static electricity in the air.
Yeah. All right. The robot kind of wheels over to look at you and goes, variable density requires variable power to defeat. And like you can see him kind of open up his arm and like thunk a few things. Sage or Tim, you have a second to try and figure out what you want to guys do from inside that force field if either of you has a plan.
Tim, do you have a plan?
Yeah, I'm gonna hack into this robot with my mind.
Oh boy.
Because it sounds like the robot is misfiring because it believes that us upstanding, freedom-loving citizens are threats to City Hall. So I think I'd like to like kind of like reach out. Probably the like comics panel is we like see like things go into black and white and just like that like golden brain of Tim's just kind of just like pulsing, and then kind of circuitry like imagery connects him over to the robot as I'm trying to reach into the robot's mind and alter its programming so that it understands that the real threats to City Hall are government overreach.
Wow. All right. And are you provoking here? Are you directly engaging? What do you think your goal is? Is it to change how he sees the world, or is it to lay a powerful blow on him?
I imagine this might be an unleash your powers because I'm pushing my powers to their limit to overcome an obstacle.
All right, fair enough. Go ahead and roll.
Rolling plus freak here. Hopefully this goes better than last time. It's a 7.
Yeah, so when you unleash your powers and you have a 7 to 9 result, you can mark a condition, or the result will be unstable or temporary. Which would you rather?
I'm happy with unstable or temporary.
Yeah. All right. So you see the robot kind of pause as he's reprogramming himself, and like his eyes kind of flare with that same golden light that we saw in your own visualization. And then he wheels around, taking in City Hall, and goes, the real super power is the supra power, the power above everyone. And he, loses interest in you guys completely and begins firing energy blasts at the structure of City Hall itself. Debris rains from the ceiling. Some of it headed towards your classmates. What do you do?
Are we still in an energy field?
Yes.
You're still in the energy field.
But, anyone's welcome to try and do something about it or bust on through. But, so the robot is entirely non-interested in you when he could be interested in leveling all power. What are you guys gonna do to solve this problem?
The real villain is capitalism. So, I have. Yeah.
Okay, that is true. You have a +1 forward from your condition stage for whoever you blame for it. So
You can use to defend them if that's what you're interested in.
The government. It's who I blame for this. It's racism.
I mean, if you blame, the folks who put you in the energy field, I'm happy to let you use that +1 for trying to break out of it.
I do definitely blame the people that put me in here. And yeah, I think she's going to ball up her fist and just spiked vines are gonna grow around it, and she's just gonna punch through.
Awesome. All right, that sounds like you're unleashing your powers here.
Yeah,
to get around this. All right, well, go ahead and roll plus freak, and let's see how that goes.
Hopefully better than the last time. It wasn't.
All right, your freak is 3.
7.
So yes, you've just made it. All right, so it's 7. So that'll be unstable.
Plus 1 is 8, but yeah.
That'll be unstable or temporary unless you mark a condition. That's entirely up to you. You're definitely going to, break a hole into this energy field. The question is whether you want to make it stick or not.
I'm good with unstable or temporary. Tim can deal with himself.
All right. So I think there's a gap that both of you can try and scramble through. What does it look like as just the plants hit the energy and make space for you, Sage?
You can see it. You can see them hit this energy field and singe.
Mm-hmm.
But even as they burn away, more of them are growing over it. So it doesn't actually hurt her.
Nice. All right. I think that gives you guys a path out of this field. Does anyone want to do anything about the debris?
Yeah, I think Meadowlark would probably, probably want to just fly up and try to catch as much of it as they can.
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable defend of your classmates. So
am I rolling defend again?
Yeah, it sounds like.
All right. Oh, that is that's just a 4.
So I think as you do that, it's going to be a little tricky for you. I think some of the rocks do hit you, but you maybe catch some of the large ones, but definitely some of your classmates are getting hit. There's the sound of yells. The whole roof seems to be getting unstable. So you can see as you're kind of pinned to the ground by the rocks that everyone needs to get out of here ASAP, but it's going to be hard for you to help them. And you can see through the clear sky a flying figure kind of come to a halt in midair and start arrowing down towards you all and this whole big mess you're in the middle of. Meanwhile, the robot, kind of seeing that he's broken through the ceiling, goes, yes, liberty, free as the air, and now back to those who would use their powers. Each shall be equal. And he wheels around on you, Tim.
Okay, cool. we want to play it that way, robot. I think I'm gonna hold out a hand, and then we see like it like stack up layer by layer. Like I just really like this psychic 3D printer imagery, and I think like a kind of psychic energy grenade launcher takes form in Tim's hand as he levels it at this robot, and he says, "I abide by the non-aggression principle, but you, my friend, are crossing every line here." I'm gonna launch some psychic grenades at this robot.
All right, launching psychic grenades definitely sounds like a directly engage to me. So go ahead and roll plus danger to do that.
Yeah, that's legit. finally something I'm good at. That's a 12 on the board, and my danger's 1, so it's a 13.
Yeah, what are you picking here of your options? And what does it look like, do you think, when your psychic energies hit an electricity robot?
A fascinating experiment that we get to find out. I want to create an opportunity for my allies by specifically kind of keeping the robot contained enough that they can do whatever they need to do, including rescuing the others, dealing with the newcomer, but like keep the robot out of their business. And I want to take one of the robot's arms from it. Like maybe like the grenade blows, the arm like flies over, and I like catch it and tuck it into my jacket, like for later study. Does that work?
Yeah, I think everyone is going to get just the opportunity you want, because I noticed you didn't say resist or avoid their blows.
Yeah.
So Meadowlark and Sage, you're going to get, some unencumbered time to work on that roof problem before it crumbles and crushes you all. Because what this security robot is going to do is just that arm you've caught, you've got it, right? But it's going to swing around and grab you by the neck, Tim. And then so why don't you roll to take a powerful blow? Remember, that's rolling plus conditions.
Got it. Man, this robot with its electrifying arm around my neck just reminds me of the state.
For a little man.
That's a 9.
All right. So on a 9, you get to make some choices. Which from these 7 to 9 powerful blow options do you want, and what does it look like? Then we'll cut back to you, Sage and Meadowlark, to see what you can do to save people who are not Tim here. Tim is working on his own project of getting electrocuted by an arm that he stole.
I think very plausibly I give ground by just like stumbling backwards, struggling with this arm and like tripping over something. So I'm now like on the ground fighting this stolen robot arm.
All right. Sage and Meadowlark, as your teammate bears arms against his will. The major crack in the ceiling has widened, and it looks like the roof is not long for this world. What do you do?
Well, am I still covered in some of the debris, or? Yeah.
You can probably work your way free at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I'd probably try to phase through some of it and work my way out of there. And I think I would just send I guess everybody kind of recognizes the emergency. so people are probably scrambling. So I would just do what I can to keep the roof up as long as possible for everybody to get out.
I'll focus on getting people physically out of the building. You're muted.
All right, that sounds good. So, Sage, you're trying to usher people out. Meadowlark, you're trying to hold the roof together. I think that might be an unleash your powers to manage that as you reshape the world around you.
Yeah,
Is that just that you're physically like flying up there and holding the roof with like your kind of toughness?
Yeah, I think it's kind of that, and sort of almost like phasing like into like, I guess I am using my density powers to quote unquote raise the roof.
Love it. All right. Go ahead and try that. I like this kind of image of you anchored in the two pieces.
Yeah, so I rolled a oh, it's +3. That's a 12.
Yeah, I think that works startlingly well, right? You've stabilized the roof. You kind of requires you to keep it there, but you can feel kind of the shift of weight as things settle into you, and then you see a silver streak with kind of a red and yellow haze to it streak by you. Sage, as you're escorting people out, the pair of folks who were flying through the air come to a landing in front of you. One of them, wearing kind of lightly buffed armor and smiling the kind of smile that goes ting with like an audible noise. It's martial perfection, holding some ne'er-do-well dressed in red and yellow by the shoulder, and goes, "What seems to be the meaning of this? Who decided to activate the voltaic protocol, and what was the target?" And then like his eyes fall on Tim and goes, "I see. What do you have to say for yourselves, heroes?"
I have my permit. And honestly,
Permits are oppression. Ah!
That security guard is being a jerk. And really presumptive.
The security guard like gestures to the entire room, which now doesn't include much of a roof, and goes, "I hardly think I was the one to overreact. I said this team was a threat, and clearly they're a threat." Yeah. So martial perfection, looks to you and goes, "All right, Voltaic, stand down," and then repeats, "Voltaic, stand down." But it seems like someone has messed with Voltaic's programming, and it isn't being particularly responsive. Tim, in what I guess I could only describe as an extremely condescending way, the arm around you kind of like pauses, goes, "Greater threat detected," and like pats you condescendingly on the head.
The arm itself says this to me?
Voltaic says it, but the arm kind of embodies this thought. And the arm is going to pat you on the head and then try and like turn in your arms to fire at martial perfection. I also think that's a mundane up, danger down label shift.
The arm is shifting my labels by patting me on the head.
By patting me condescendingly.
Do it, punk.
I resist that label shift.
Go ahead and try.
Yeah, I think as if the arm's like scuttling away, like Tim like reaches up and like pulls his hair back into its like hedgehoggy spikes. Nobody pats me on the head. It's a 6. However, I will spend a team selfishly. Wait, no. Oh, I can't spend team selfishly to resist a label shift because there's no label involved in the roll.
You can certainly behave as though you were trying to, but it's not going to have a mechanical consequence.
Does anyone want to help me?
You could just be a jerk.
And does anyone want to try and back Tim up that he is in fact dangerous? More dangerous than martial perfection.
Okay, sounds like nobody does, so that's fine.
Mark potential.
Yeah, I'll mark potential. I'm also, I believe, marking a condition and having my label shifted.
That is true. So, your danger is going to go down to 0. Your mundane to 2. And I cannot imagine it's anything but insecure that you're marking here. Why do you suspect the robot is right about you?
Yeah, I think the fact that I pulled out my big guns, relatively literally, by using kind of hacking and psychic weapons on this robot, and yet left it mostly unimpressed. Definitely strikes at my self-esteem here.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. The arm, leaves you as uninteresting and blasts at Martial Perfection, who was not expecting this, knocking him into his prisoner. There's a horrible twang of guitar strings as the villain that he had captured's guitar breaks in the cushioning the crash. Team, Voltaic has just knocked down one of the exemplars. What do you do?
I don't know if I can control the arm, but I'm definitely gonna summon some vines to wrap around and restrain at least the majority of robots.
Very fair. I think that would be either an unleash your powers if you're mostly trying to just restrain him, or directly engage if you're trying to do damage to him. Which way do you feel about engaging this robot?
Sorry. I'm gonna try to make the threat a non-threat and directly engage.
Go for it. So you're rolling plus danger here as you send those vines out.
I'm so glad that security guard told me I was an asshole. So that's a 10.
Whew. All right. So you are tying this guy right up. And what would you say this looks like as you restrain him? And which options are you picking? Because you get 2 from directly engage.
So I am going to create an opportunity for my allies, and I'm going to impress, surprise, or frighten as vines break through the floor. The really probably very nice marble floor of City Hall, and just grab at this guy and pull him down to the ground with this forceful metallic thunk.
Yeah. All right. So you've mostly immobilized him, but he kind of flickers with electricity all over as you pull him down to the ground. And you can feel that through the connection of your vines. So go ahead and take a powerful blow. As your friends kind of have the opportunity. This guy is down, but he's struggling, and that struggle is backlashing onto you a little bit. That's rolling plus conditions.
Yeah. Cool. It was a 3.
Tell us a little bit about how you weather this, right? Because it seems like it should have taken you down, but you stood strong. What did you hold on to? How did you do it?
So I pull this guy down to the ground, and it sparks through the vines, and I just slam a palm against the ground and try to ground myself, and you see the sparks coming off me and shooting off and into the ground, and there's just electricity spiraling my hand as I'm channeling it back into the earth.
Nice. All right. You've really done a number on this guy. Martial perfection is, and I know Alexi has dropped an image into our character keeper in the NPC tabs, and I like what you've picked. So, martial perfection is struggling to his feet, and it's like his legs are made of jelly. He's kind of patting himself all over and wobbling around, and looks at you, Sage, and goes, "Nice job grounding that. A lot more power than I thought he was packing."
Yeah, maybe that's why you shouldn't stick this thing on children, literal children. I am 16.
Yeah, and I'm like pulling myself back up, trying to get my hair to stand spiky, but it's not where the robot patted me. It's not getting spiky anymore. And I'm like, yeah, you know what I always say. Government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take it away too. And that's why you shouldn't let it make killer electric robots.
No, he's right. He does always say that.
The marshal looks kind of confused and goes, "You guys are the kid anarchists, right?"
No.
The
young Halcyonians for freedom.
Also, no. It's just a work in progress.
And kind of rubs his temples and goes, "Sorry, it's just everything's a little fuzzy right now. I hate to say it, but I could use a little help restraining this guy. Not that he's so much trouble. I don't want him getting up or causing any other difficulties." And the older gentleman in red and yellow is kind of struggling to his feet, falls down and is lunging for something on Martial Perfection's belt. What do you do?
Real quick, do we recognize this guy as like a known supervillain?
Are any of you guys really into historical supervillainy in Halcyon City?
If anyone, Tim might have poked around in that, right? If he's like looking into like the various legal precedents that have created the regulatory state around superheroics that exists today.
Or the enemy of our enemy.
Yeah, then I think, Tim, you remember that there's like a guy who had like a role in free speech jurisprudence because he was a singer of some kind. He was maybe like it wasn't the purple plover, but it was some kind of bird color related stupid name. But he hasn't been a threat in a long time. But you do notice that this guy is getting ready to open his mouth. What do you do?
Oh man, it's not like Tim to try to stop free expression. So
no one is twisting your arm.
I mean, I could just drop some of the ceiling on him. I'm still holding it up.
Yeah, you're still in the ceiling.
You definitely could.
Yeah,
I think or to say, "You kids, listen to me," and like his voice kind of cracks into a note. Are you dropping some ceiling on this guy?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to strategically drop some of the ceiling on him. You're muted.
Go ahead and directly engage the poor Scarlet Songbird, who Tim can't be bothered to accurately remember the name of.
And that is rolling what, plus danger?
Mm-hmm.
You got to stop him. It's the pink peacock.
It's a 7.
Nice. All right. So
would someone be a peacock?
So you're definitely going to land a blow on him. What options do you want to pick of your directly engaged choices here?
I mean, I think I want to create an opportunity for my allies, just insofar as, kind of calling attention to the fact that he is trying to do this, and hopefully somebody else can, pretty much just distracting, or not really distracting, but knocking him out of his plan for long enough that hopefully somebody else can jump in and really stop him.
Yeah. All right. So I think he's Why don't you decide, where do you want a piece of debris to hit him to try and cut off this song?
I think probably like hitting him on the back, like almost like somebody like just slapping him on the back really hard. Just a giant chunk of concrete or something hitting him on the back.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. And as he gets hit, he kind of like knocks into the marshal, goes back down to the ground, and his voice really cracks into what's almost a supersonic noise, one that humans can't hear. One that he seems surprised to be making, but you, Meadowlark, are no human. Uh, you feel just an intense confusion coming over you as this note just resonates inside you until it's all you can hear. Go ahead and take a powerful blow.
That is a 10.
Oof. All right, so with a 10, in all their moves, you want to roll high, but not with this one. In a 10, you get to pick whether you want to take one of the 10 plus options or two 7 to 9 options. So go ahead and take a look over those for a second and tell me which you're most interested in.
I mean, I'm definitely interested in losing control of myself or my powers in a terrible way.
That I can work with.
And I do have the telepathy, and I did leave out before that it's telepathy and mind blast, so there is that to work with.
Yeah. Have your teammates felt the effect of your mind blast before?
I don't think directly. I think maybe I hit them with it a little, like just very light type of thing, but not like the full force of the power.
Yeah, all right. This I can certainly work with. There's kind of enormous flash of light, and whether it's a physical flash of light or just in your mind, it's hard to say. But I think there starts to be kind of a muddled feeling for each of you. As Sage and Tim, you can kind of hear this note that you can't really hear, right? Like you're both like getting some of that backlash of the note that's well beyond your human hearing. um, Metalark and Sage, you're kind of getting a little sense of that golden brain power wash. Possibly as Tim like tries to assemble earmuffs slightly, but they kind of like land part of a muff in one of your hands, part of the connector in the other. It's just a wild mix of powers happening here. And you know, by the time everything stops shaking, the Scarlet Songbird is just knocked out on the ground. Martial perfection has vanished. And Sage, you are looking down at a pair of perfectly normal human hands. The jacket reaching to your wrists. Meadowlark, you feel the weight of a set of, vine and leaf hair cascading down your back. And Tim, you are in the air, flying. Even the law of gravity doesn't apply to you now. And we're going to take a 10-minute break. So it's 9:57 now. We'll come back at 10:07. And we'll see what you guys want to do. Nice job, Benalark. See you guys at 10:07.
This is fine.
Welcome back, heroes. You may have some questions about what has just happened. So I'm going to go over this kind of mechanically and story-wise. You'll notice that in the character keeper, I've made a new tab called post-swap PCs. That's because some things are going to carry over to your new playbook. You can kind of imagine that you all picked up playbooks and circled them around at the table. But the things you should transfer to the post-swap tab will be that your potential goes with the playbook you now have. And feel free, I'm going to do this as an example. For Tim, I'm putting in parentheses that this is, of course, now really Sage. Just so we can keep track of who's in which body. Go ahead, if everyone who's not Sage, and put your name in, where your both your player name, where you are actually playing, and your character's name in parentheses for the body you are inhabiting. And transfer your conditions and potential from your previous playbook to your new playbook. So if you were angry, you're still angry. But if you had potential, you've still got the potential. And if you unlock an advance while you're in your new playbook, you can pick an advance from either playbook, which includes unlocking a moment of truth from either playbook, your original one or your current one, just so folks are up on that.
Amazing.
So does anyone, just starting before we kind of jump back to the fiction, have any mechanical questions, including just if you want to check how a move works that you've just gotten?
What do we do about influence?
All right, so that's a good question. You guys all will have influence over each other as you did, so go ahead and transfer that from the post-swap playbook too.
But which person does the influence that we have apply to?
Since I think you guys are all going to work out what's happened relatively quickly, you, Tim, if you had influence over Sage, then you, Tim, as Meadowlark, now have influence over Tim, which may be easiest just to copy paste over who you have influence over into your new column, because you will know which person Sage is and so on. If that makes sense. You have influence over the internal person.
Yep. that makes sense.
Yeah, we're not pairing time travel here, but it's kind of in the same way time travel provokes bad use of grammar and tenses. We're gonna have a little trouble with like personhood and pronouns.
Are the team moves the ones from our new playbook now?
We'll play that as it comes up, basically. So if you're sharing a triumphant celebration, which is not the first thing I imagine any of you are doing, or if you're sharing a vulnerability or weakness, I'm prepared to be pitched on you using your new or your old one, depending. So feel free to glance at both and see what makes sense in the moment. But your playbook moves and your abilities have all definitely shifted. All right. We'll handle other mechanical questions as they come up, and they may well come up. But in the meantime, I think as you guys come to, you have the sense that some time has passed. Your classmates are gone. Martial Perfection is gone. The Scarlet Songbird is unconscious. And as each of you kind of like takes in your new body, I'd like you guys to go, in whatever order people feel like they first have an idea of this, you're going to get one free label shift for the new labels you've inherited, and tell me kind of how your reaction to your new body informs this label shift. This will just be kind of a montage of, the feeling these new powers and experiencing this sudden translation.
Yeah, I can go on this. I think as Meadowlark, uh, Tim is flying around, um, just kind of probably a little wobbly, right? A little like fledgling bird style. Um, but as like he's like talking himself through it a little. Like there's an internal monologue about like it's all right, just like the Wright brothers. It's like great Americans, not bound by conventions. You can do it. You can fly. You can fly. So I'm gonna label shift. Yeah, probably it's superior up, mundane down. As I earn my wings a little here in this kind of, since I came to in midair, apparently have to deal with that.
That makes a lot of sense to me. All right. Sage or Meadowlark, how do you react to your entirely human body or your still relatively normal relative to being Tim body?
So this is weird. And weird in that I don't think that she has, like, I think she's starting to forget what it's like to have just, like, normal people hands. And she just, like, keeps, like, running her hands over her body and over her face. And it's weird because Tim doesn't shave properly, so it's a little patchy. And it's like, wait, can I do the thing? And tries to materialize. It's like, it's just real shitty.
Well, what are you trying to make?
I think just like a small weapon because she's seen him do like crazy stuff, like a baseball bat or something.
All right, we're going to come back to you trying that in a second because I think that will be an unleash to try out your new powers. But what label shift do you make, kind of in response to figuring out that you're in this normal skin body?
I think she's going to shift her freak down and her savior up.
Nice.
Does that sound right?
That's up to you, but I like that. So, all right, we'll come back to you for your role in a second. Meadowlark, you are standing in Sage's slightly barkish body. It stays one density all the time and does not fly. How do you feel, and how do you your label shift?
I think at first, like, I'm probably trying to, like, I don't know, like you see in, well, Meadowlark in Sage's body, like almost just like hopping around, like trying to get that flight going. And then, just kind of look down and sort of realize, like, oh, hey, like, I have these powers, and I'm kind of like playing around with the vines a little bit, and I think come to the realization that, like, I can still protect people. Like, I can still protect the people that are important to me, and maybe even better now. Like, I've seen Sage like completely rock with these powers, and I think I'm going to shift. I think. Actually, yeah, I'm going to move Savior up and Danger down.
Very nice. All right, so Sage, you in Tim's body try and unleash your powers to make a baseball bat. Describe a little what it feels like you're trying to do, and Tim, you can chime in a little about like what you recognize as the same or different as you see yourself try and do this from the outside.
So I feel like she is way overthinking things, just trying to like figure out like the spatial recognition. Like, yeah, it's like 3D modeling, right? And you can see her like working her hands, just kind of like trying to go through what she thinks the process is, has no idea what the process is. And I'm going to roll. Poorly, probably.
I wonder if, from my perspective watching, it's like just like way more organic. That like the way you're using the energy doesn't quite have that like weird layered effect that I have, but instead it's more like it's your vines from your old body, but in like kind of psychic energy.
I think that's cool.
Did you just roll snake eyes though?
I haven't. No, I haven't rolled yet.
Okay, good. I was looking at this being like, oh dear. All right.
That's a little bit better.
That's a lot better. That's
7.
That's a 10?
Nope, it's a 7.
It's a
if
7.
you're rolling plus free for Unleash, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. And Tim's freak, which is now your freak is minus 1. Yeah, it's a 7. So you've got a golden bat, which probably like I almost imagine probably has like a little growing leaf coming out of the middle of it. But that's a hit, so it's up to you. Do you want the bat to stick around, or if the bat is unstable or temporary? Because if you want it to stick around, you'll have to mark a condition.
I want to see how this gets wacky.
So noted. All right, what do you guys do? What do you say to each other as you take in all this lit lightly? I think almost certainly like power to the building was disrupted during all this. So lit lightly by the glow of this glowing bat as shaped by Sage with Tim's powers.
I think I'd like try to project out through the psychic connection that Meadowlark has, and basically the first thing I'm saying is like, hey, Sage, Meadowlark, Raquel, Yosepa, did you guys get switched around too? Did we do a musical chairs?
I think so. Part of me still thinks this is just a weird dream, and we're gonna wake up back in our. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely switched, and you should really, not use the mind talking that much. People don't like that.
Are you provoking him, Meadowlark, to behave himself in your body?
Yeah, that definitely sounds right.
All right, take a look at that provoke roll. So when you provoke someone susceptible to your words, say what you're trying to get them to and roll plus superior. And if you have influence, you get to add 1 here.
Yeah, so I think I am trying to get him to behave similarly or behave within reason. I've set some guidelines for myself around how telepathy is used, right?
Yeah, that's very fair. So you're rolling plus superior and with the addition of influence, I believe. So
yeah, so that's a 4.
Yeah, you know what? Go ahead and mark. Oh, I guess Tim, what do you say in response to this that's going to cause Meadowlark to mark afraid?
Oh man, so much power. Yeah. I think no. I think Tim's like, yeah. You use telepathy responsibly. Got it, right? But it's like in like a dashed off way, so that you don't necessarily buy that he's all on board there, and he's gonna keep going on the like telepathy channel, right? Saying like, oh yeah, and if this ends up being a longer term thing, Sage, there's just a couple things you need to know. I've been drinking only raw milk for a while. It started as a political statement, but now I'm not sure my body could tolerate other things. So you should keep that in mind.
All right, Meadowlark, go ahead and mark afraid. What does it usually feel like, Meadowlark, when you're in your own body when you get a call from home on that telepathic channel that Tim is pushing on?
Oh, it's almost like, I don't know, like you can feel like something like almost like going up your spine, like you just like walked into a situation, like just a sudden cold chill, like up the back of up your back. Yeah, kind of going up your spine.
Tim, that's exactly what you feel right now. And then a little voice in your head saying, oh, we haven't seen you in a little while after the explosion and the cameras cut out. I'm hoping for an edge in the betting pool. What's going on with you right now? And say it privately, because I've got a heavy dose of, and then like there's just an unintelligible word you don't know riding on this.
Yeah, you guys see like meadowlark's glowing eyes, right? Just like blinking really rapidly as Tim is taking this in. I think he's not a kid to let an opportunity go by. So he probably like tries to hone in on whatever like psychic signal he's getting with this this call from back on Oquira, and he says, yes, things are under control here. We're just sorting them out. It's all good. Just out of curiosity, has has anyone on Okura had a lot of experience with psychic switcheroos and things of that nature? Just following a little hunch, and might be useful here on Earth to have that kind of bonus insight. Call it a lifeline.
You hear kind of what sounds like to you as you translate it as like an excited intake of breath, and then the voice on the other end goes, do I pronounce this Yosepa? Just to double check, Robert?
Yeah.
Yosepa, are you transferring life force? Have you... The odds are so far against you reproducing like a normal person after your time there. But if you are transferring life force, you are one of us. You are grown up. You should come home to do this safely. Earth birthing practices are very different. That's a mundane up, freak down shift.
Should I roll about that label shift before or after I roll belong in two worlds?
Let's go with before.
Mundane down, freak up. Was that correct?
You're acting like a normal person.
Yeah, great. I mean, these aren't my labels anyway. I'll get back to my own labels eventually, and then it'll be fine. So yeah, I'll take the label shift and have my freak go up and my mundane go down. That seems fine.
Your mundane is going up. Your freak is going down.
Oh, sorry.
You're behaving well. You've not being a total Earth person about this.
Sorry, one too many layers of reversal when we have both the bizarre world aliens and we're all in different people's bodies. I apologize, I got mixed up there. So mundane up, freak down. Yeah, I'll take that. Freak goes to 2, mundane goes to 0. As I say, yes, it's so much better to reproduce via budding than whatever it is they do here on Earth. I try not to watch. It's uncomfortable.
That's offensive.
Yeah, I'm going to say that probably, since Tim is not very good at this, you're at least sub-vocalizing or enunciating part of this, which your team can overhear. So you guys are going to get half this conversation, but go ahead, Tim, and prep the move.
Tim's side of it, yeah. I'm like, but seriously, insight into psychic switcheroos. Download it to me, and I will be eternally grateful. I'll owe you a Aquarian life debt or whatever.
So thoughtful. All right, you're rolling this move plus superior, right?
Yep.
Who are you talking to? God, oh, your voice is so. Ugh.
Okay. It's a 6 on the table plus superior, but with 3 superior, that's a 9. Hey, can't use Team Selfishly to boost that, but if anybody wants to help me, it could be a 10. Nobody wants to help with that. Okay, fine. Yeah, I will hold 2, but I'm spending 1 immediately for consult your people's knowledge to ask the GM a question about the current situation. Basically, I hope that whatever experience the aliens have with telepathy could answer the question of what caused us all to switch our minds around.
Yeah. Let's see. I think the entity on the other end, says, I'm very excited to hear you'll be coming home to the spawning chambers. I will alert everyone after I have placed a hefty bet on this outcome. You should think about what the viewing of this will be, a second season, as it were, of your new self. But you should speak to one of our doctors. And there's kind of that crackle again where like doctor is not quite the concept as you understand it, Tim, but some other thing is confusing you. Something not aquirith about you. It's some technological interference, and you don't want to transmit that. And so to translate a little for you, the player, whatever has happened to you is not primarily the fault of Meadowlark. There's some Earth tech involved in this.
I see. So they're able to tell me I've got like weird Earth tech signals still stuck on me, and I'm able to like put that together as something from Earth got mixed up in this and was part of why we all swapped around.
Yep. And remember that you're holding one, or make an extra token that's not a team token for when you want to cash that in, unless you have something in mind right now.
Cash it in real quick so we don't need to keep track of the hold. I think I will say, great. Yes. And if hey, I'm feeling generous. Why don't you beam me down your most treasured artifact, and I will use it in this episode of my show and sign it afterwards and send it back to you. Trying to cash in something for that first option on Belong in Two Worlds, where you receive a useful piece of alien technology that will allow you to use any ability from another playbook once. I don't know what.
I'm happy to let you pick the ability when you use the tech.
Fancy. I like it.
All right. So I think, the way that tech kind of downloads into you is just, you have like this very confusing sensation that was a bit like hearing the noise you couldn't hear, right? But you like struggle to articulate what it is, and it feels like it's struggling to accommodate itself to you. It's an untastable taste, an unhearable sound, and finally it feels like it gives up, and there's just a big red button in your mind that says, in case of emergency.
Nice. I'm like, hey, your people are pretty cool, Meadowlark. I just got a big red mental button from one of them.
Oh, it. Yeah, you shouldn't use that. It's not going to be that good. Don't like. Yeah, trust me. They give those out all the time. It's not worth using. And wait, what did they give you that for? Did you give what you promised them?
Just an autograph. Relax. Don't be so uptight about all this stuff. Look, we've got an amazing opportunity here. We can think about how much more we can do when we understand each other's powers better this way.
That is one good idea. Yes.
The only good idea.
Thank you. I'm full of us.
But we should maybe not make promises to people about our new powers and our new situations. Also, very weird because my people a written language, so I'm not sure how this human autograph situation is going to play out. I don't even know how they could have translated that or what the. I don't know what you've promised them.
Do you mark things with pheromones or something? How would you if like someone presented you with a social contract and that you needed to sign onto, to kind of specify your rights as a member of a society, how would you like make your mark on it?
We don't really do contracts the same way you do. We just we just use honesty.
How can a society function without contracts?
How are you more annoying in this body?
Is that a label shift, Sage?
It can be.
It sounded like it was a superior down, something else up, or maybe a savior down.
Let me look at your stats. I think it's a superior down, mundane up. Like, be a normal person.
Tim, how can you be even more annoying in this body?
That's a good question. Superior down, mundane up. I will resist that label shift. Yeah, we see.
Fight me.
Yeah, I think like Tim as Meadowlark just kind of like floats up in the air a little and like twirls, right? Just kind of like showing off, having figured out some of these powers. So I'm gonna roll. Yeah, I'm not. Oh, I am insecure. Okay, insecure hurts me rejecting someone's influence, I think, right? So I got an 8. I will. Yeah, I'll try. I'll clear a condition or mark potential by immediately acting to prove them wrong. And what you were trying to say that I'm annoying.
Yeah, that you somehow are even more Tim-like when you are not in Tim body.
Yeah, no, I'll prove you wrong. I'll be like, don't be. Come on, Sage. The alien didn't even suspect a thing. I crushed it. I bet you're not going to be able to hold up the ruse for an hour here. But I'm going to keep this whole alien planet thinking everything's hunky dory, and I am Yosepa Ignoto.
All right, so you're clearing a condition there, or are you choosing to mark potential?
Oh, definitely potential.
Go for it. Meadowlark, you feel your phone, by which of course I mean Sage's original phone, since you're in Sage's original body, going off, and the phone says "Mom" on it. Do you answer?
Yeah, and I think it takes a few tries because I don't normally use these phones.
Yeah, you hear a woman's voice on the other end going, "Hey, sweetie, we got some confusing calls from the school about problems on the field trip, but it was very garbled, and they said for legal reasons and because of a possible pending court case, they couldn't fully unpack for us what had happened. Is this going to interfere with you coming to the parent-child support group this afternoon?"
Hold on, I can't hear you. Oh, and then she like had the phone turned so like she was speaking into the wrong end. No, no, I can still make it. It's not a big deal. It, it was at City Hall, so of course there's, laws. That the laws are a thing here at City Hall, and people's rights were being infringed upon. That's what one of my classmates taught me.
You hear Sage's mom say, "Well, remember what we always say, everyone has the right to be loved by their parents, just like the book says." So you're ready then to make the presentation this afternoon. We've got some new parents coming in, and one of their kids, obviously every child has the right to be loved by a parent, but one of their kids is intangible. And if you can't give someone a hug, how can you express your love for them? But there's always a way forward. Whether your child is very small or can't be touched at all, they're still your child.
Yeah, I mean, I agree I can totally give that presentation. I've been learning all about presentations, and I can totally give a presentation.
Oh god, the presentation today.
All right.
And I think as I'm saying that, I'm also turning to, I guess, Sage now in Tim's body. I'm just like, presentation? Yeah, presentation.
All right, sweetie, we'll see you there in about 20 minutes. We're so proud of you every day, whatever color or texture you are.
Okay, Mom. Don't forget, I love you.
And I love you too, just as you're entitled to be loved. It's always important to remember. And then she hangs up. Sage, again, having heard half of that conversation, but probably pretty familiar with what the other half sounds like. What do you do?
Oh my god.
I'll mention you guys may want to keep an eye on your team moves here or your comfort and supports.
I forgot that was today. Oh boy. So how do you feel about superpowered kid support meetings?
I haven't been to one.
My therapist said that it might be a good idea. So now we go on Wednesdays.
Yeah, so I just have to go in there and answer questions, right? And I mean I've seen only a few of these human presentations, but you basically just put a thing on the screen and then you read exactly what's on the screen, like in a monotone voice, and then press a button a couple times and say, "Oops, I can't get the next slide." That's presentations, right?
You got it. That's what they are.
Honestly, yeah, kinda.
Look, I got this. I have telepathy now. I will make a link between the two of you so that, Sage, you can tell Meadowlark, while Meadowlark is you, what you want you to say. We all get it, right? Like it's clear.
So then me as you is just hanging around outside the room all creepy.
Yeah, us two can like sit on the roof or something, and I'll like beam you down to Meadowlark as you.
It's not the worst idea in the world. It's not a great idea.
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. Yeah, we can do that. Also, Tim, did you know that we all have the right to be loved by our parents? You never told me about these rights.
That one's not in the Bill of Rights. That's a made-up one.
It's
That-
true though.
That seems like something that you should have written. You write down everything else. Why wouldn't you have written that one down? That one seems pretty important.
Well, that's really hard to enforce, though, right? Think of the like type of government intervention that would justify if we like treated that as a right equal to the right to free speech or something important like that.
Oh, so the most important rights don't get written down?
Yeah, you know what? We can get into this a little later. I'm just saying, you know, there are some important rights that are written down, and you know, we should be careful about just multiplying them willy-nilly, especially if it's all a cover for further government intervention in individuals' personal lives.
I'm becoming very glad that my people don't have this whole writing things down. It just makes sense to us.
Tim, are you implying that people have the right to not love their kids as they should be loved? Because if saying that that everyone should have the right to be loved as they deserve to be loved, that's infringing on your personal liberties.
Look,
I think as you say that, someone kind of climbs in over the rubble in the front and goes like, having only heard the last bit, going, "That's what I've been trying to say to you all this time, Tim." It's Miss Aguilar, very excited to hear you, Sage, as Tim, explaining that people do have the right to be loved as they ought to be loved. These kind of natural laws and natural rights exist. And she just comes forward and gives you a big hug. What do you do?
Sage and Sage Body or Tim Body is a hugger.
Yeah,
So we'll hug
I
back.
think this is even like slightly confusing to Miss Aguilar.
as Meadowlark, I'm just like shaking my head, like, no, you're not doing me right. It's not gonna buy it.
I'm making you better.
Miss Aguilar kind of looks you all over and goes, "I'm sorry we left you behind. They evacuated us all and said the situation was contained, but..." She goes, "I guess, oh, he's still here." She looks down at the unconscious and we're like, "Well, putting a call to Aegis right away to retrieve him, but it's not true what they said on the news, right?"
What did they say on the news?
Miss Aguilar says, "They said that you guys had all been compromised by the songbird, you know, and if you were acting strangely at all, we should call Aegis right away. But you all seem fine. There doesn't seem to be anything strange about you. You seem better than fine, Tim." She goes, "But I don't want to not listen to martial perfection. I don't know whether to call in Aegis just for the songbird or for you guys. Or are you guys all doing okay? Is everything normal with you?"
Oh yeah, totally normal. I'm an alien like I usually am.
Yep, everything is fine. I'm just minding my own business and not, just doing plant stuff.
Honestly, I feel like this has been a long day. I'm gonna go home and write. I have deadlines for the paper tomorrow.
She kind of nods and goes like, yes, Tim, but do you really think now is the best time for you to write your piece on every American's right to own a tank? And she like gestures around at the like fallen in roof. All this?
Tanks are obviously covered. I mean, yeah, Tim, think carefully about that really good editorial idea.
Sage.
I think I should get home and get to writing because I feel like if any time is a time to take an interesting different editorial stand it is after events like today.
I think you're trying to mislead, distract, or trick here, Sage.
Hell yeah.
Go for it. So first use of a second use of our new playbook moves. Are you watching closely? Rolling plus superior.
I am so glad that I have that bonus to superior because I'm just so good. That's a 9.
All right, so that's a 9. So you can choose 2 here unless a member of your team spends team to help you push this up to a 10, in which case you get to pick 3.
So you also have a bonus for using team selfishly with the other delinquent move I picked.
Oh yeah.
And using team selfishly here can certainly mean using it selfishly as Sage would like it applied, even if she's doing it in Tim's guise.
It's fine. I'll take that team. Push that up to a 10.
Yeah, so how are you behaving selfishly or behaving in a way that would, ignore the concerns or desires of your teammates here?
Oh, I am definitely ignoring the concerns or desires of Metalark Tim.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing that he really disapproves of as you sell this?
It sounded like you were implying you're going to take a new editorial stance for the Hedgehog's purview, different from the one that Tim has carefully crafted.
That's carefully curated Liberty First viewpoint.
Yeah. So what is it that you're saying to Ms. Aguilar, as you kind of start chatting with her about this?
Times are changing in Halcyon. Things are getting more dangerous every day, and we really need to rely on each other. When the government isn't there for us, we need to rely on one another. To if we rise, all of us rise. And it's a little bit more collectivist.
And there's in your head with the telepathy, Tim is going he who would sacrifice liberty for security deserves neither.
Nice. All right. So Sage, which of these options are you picking here? Because you get 3 of the "Are you watching closely" options.
And with what team you get you get bonuses from using team selfishly. Also clear your condition or marking potential.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. Sorry, I am looking at the wrong tab for myself. So I'm going to clear the insecure condition for Team What Team.
Yeah, I mean, you're really rocking pretending to be Tim. You're an even better Tim than Tim is.
Oh, yeah. I am making Tim a better person with every passing moment. I am going to avoid further entanglement. I think I'm also going to open up an opportunity. So maybe getting a little more information from Miss Aguilar. And I feel like she is rightfully confused.
I buy that. Now we're getting near the end of our time together, so I'll montage just a little for where we are. But I think Ms. Aguilar kind of helps walk you past a group of Aegis agents who have come to take the Scarlet Songbird into custody.
Before he goes, I did want to try to telepathically reach out to the Scarlet Songbird, just because I'm a little curious.
I'll give you the chance to do that as this happens in a second, because I think it will have to be telepathic, because as they come to collect him, you hear him spluttering wait, no, you don't understand. Let me explain. And then like they slap a high-tech gag onto him that like is clearly from his previous super villainy days, but like kind of a little rusty with disuse. And like old school model, like so much larger than it would be if they'd built it for him today, but people just don't really worry about him much. But your teacher is walking you past the guards and into her car where she volunteers to drive you guys to wherever you need to go. And you can hear on the radio, and we'll cut back in a second, Tim, to find out whatever you do or don't manage to find out. Just a press conference going on with Marshal Perfection, as he says, yes, well, it's been a very difficult day, and I won't deny it was exacerbated by the childish advocates for liberty, I think. It's been a tough day, but look, the important thing is that they come home, they come out and to their families, and we just have to get them checked out, because it's very possible the Scarlet Songbird was partly responsible for their destructiveness and that they aren't accountable for their actions. He's just a fiendishly powerful man. And it's important that we make sure there aren't any lingering effects of his powers. So that's what you hear on the radio. Tim, what is it you want to do before we wrap up and do end of session moves with the Songbird?
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out telepathically to the Scarlet Songbird, who's being taken into custody. I take it, and just kind of like poke at that brain a little and be like, so you got scrambled around too, didn't you?
And I think what you hear kind of through that connection is like an extremely aggravated voice going, oh no, I've got to work with you guys to fix this? You're the ones who didn't even register. You aren't authorized to help put the city back together.
Guess what, Marshal Perfection? Sometimes you gotta break the rules to right the wrongs.
And we'll call that a button on this session for right now. It's going to make you roll Pierce the Mask for it, but you successfully guessed what was up. So yeah, let's talk about the end of session moves and how you guys are all doing going into next week, when you'll have to solve the problem of being all swapped into each other's bodies, having the city's most respected hero be the Scarlet Songbird, who can call Aegis on you. So, with that in mind, team.
Don't forget the presentation.
Right, and we'll be opening, believe you me, at that parent therapy meeting. I'm very much looking forward to the Cyranoing going on. So let's take a look at end of session moves. That's going to be in the basic moves handout in the folder. So at the end of every session, each of you decides, and we'll start with you, Sage. Did you grow closer to the team, grow into your own image of yourself, or grow away from the team?
I think I've grown a little bit closer to the team.
Very close in some ways.
In some ways.
Excellent. Well, when you grow closer to the team, tell us who made you feel welcome, give influence to that person, and either clear a condition or mark potential yourself.
The fact that Meadowlark is in my body and not freaking out is super comforting.
That makes sense. All right. So Meadowlark already has influence over you, I believe. So Meadowlark, you can shift Sage's labels. Tell us what you want her to move up and what she should move down and why you see her that way. And in the meantime, Sage, you can either clear a condition or mark potential, your choice.
Potential.
Go for it. Meadowlark, what shift are you putting onto Sage here?
And to be clear, the shift is applying to the column that has a picture of Tim at the top of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I want to shift I think freak up. Well, up isn't closer to 0. And then, actually, no, I want to do freak down and mundane up because I think Sage is bringing some normalcy to Tim. And I think affecting the way that other people will perceive him.
Yeah, this is really a healing chapter in Tim's life, maybe. It's very moving. I like it.
He doesn't necessarily agree.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk to you, Tim. Did you grow closer to the team, into your own image of yourself, or away from the team?
It's paradoxical, I'd say, but I'll pick closer to the team, giving influence to Meadowlark, because I think the fact that I have been swapped into their body has like created more understanding, more close. Like I'm not saying Tim's doing a good job at it, but he has like more context to understand Meadowlark's alien experience from the perspective that he's now got. So I will give Meadowlark influence, which Meadowlark already has. So another label shift, but I'll clear angry in the process.
All right, so you get to clear angry, Meadowlark. How do you see Tim changing as a result of all this in your body?
I would probably move freak up and mundane down because I don't think that Tim is acting very normal in my body. So
Yeah.
almost the opposite of the other shift. Not bringing normalcy.
I see that. And Meadowlark, for yourself, did you grow closer to the team, into your own image of yourself, or away from the team?
I think I grew closer to the team because of the phone call from Sage's mom. And I think it made me understand how Sage can go on doing the things that Sage does, because she has a good support system from her mother.
Very nice. So are you giving influence to Sage there?
Yeah, and I think we've all already got influence. Well, yeah, there's one gap where there's no influence, but yeah, Sage already has influence on me.
Yeah, so Sage, go ahead and shift Meadowlark's labels and tell us why you see that shift happening. Of course, that shift is happening to Meadowlark in your own body. And Meadowlark, are you clearing potential? Are you clearing a condition or marking potential?
I'm gonna clear insecure.
And Sage, what shift do you see as appropriate here?
So I think I'm gonna shift freak down and savior up. Because I feel like you haven't really like taken those powers and made them dangerous quite yet. You still have so much potential to like do really good things with them, and I'm really excited to see what you're going to do.
Aw, well, you guys are a great team, at least in this configuration.
You try.
Yeah. And we'll see if you ever get back to your bodies next time. But for now, that's the end of the broadcast. So, viewers, if you're out there, cross your fingers that these wires get uncrossed.